Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Ryan Turley here, and today I'm going to be walking you through how to make a pulled pork sandwich with an apple coleslaw and peach barbecue sauce. It's super simple. It does take a few ingredients and a lot of patience. I am going to work through it super quick for you all, so stay tuned and we'll get right into it. First thing we're going to do is set up our injection. So what I've got here is a cup of apple juice, and then we're going to work in some of this Spanglish Asadero al pastor rub. It's not too spicy, but super flavorful, and we're going to work this into every muscle of our pork butt. And then over the top of the pork butt, we're going to throw in the Chile de Arbol from Spanglish Asadero. This one is pretty spicy. So that's what we're going to be working with, is a spicy pulled pork, and then cooling that down with the apple coleslaw and the peach barbecue sauce. It's going to be perfect, so let's go. All right, so we've got our pork butt or pork shoulder here, and this is boneless. So the first thing you're going to want to do is just pat this off with a paper towel and just remove any of that excess moisture that was in the original sealed bag. And most pork butts will come with this fat cap, and a lot of people like to leave that, but there's just so much intramuscular fat. So I'm actually gonna trim some of this fat cap off and some of this harder fat here around the outside. The other reason I like to trim the fat cap off is it's gonna allow us to apply more rub directly onto the meat. We don't wanna season the fat up because none of that seasoning is gonna work its way into the meat. So the more fat I take off, the more rub I can get directly on that meat and come out with a better finished product. All right, so this side's looking really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this and see what we're working with on the other side. And this side looks really good already. I just need to take off this little piece of silver skin here. And then we'll work out a little bit of this intramuscular fat right here. All right, so as you're trimming, just think to yourself, do I want to be eating that later, even if that renders down a bit? And that's usually a good guide of what to trim and what not to. So I think we're good to go. This is looking awesome. So now we're gonna get the injection going. We're gonna start out with 1 cup of apple juice. And then we're gonna hit it with a tablespoon of al pastor rub. Another one. And give that a shake. And we are just gonna work through this in a cross pattern. So I won't show you this entire injection process, but I basically put about 1 ounce of injection liquid every couple inches in a grid pattern across this entire pork butt. And then I flipped it over and did the same thing on the other side. Our pork butt is all injected. I'm just going to pat this excess moisture off the surface a little bit, just so that that rub will adhere. Now we are ready for this dry rub, the Chile de Arbol from Spanglish Asadero. Alright, so our pork butt is fully injected and ready to go. It's just sweating out a little bit. The salt and the spices in this rub is going to help draw some of the moisture out to the surface and create a really nice bark. So I've already got the Traeger fired up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and once that comes up to temp, we'll be ready to throw this on. And then I am gonna temp this. I'm just gonna find the thickest part of this pork butt, probably just right here, about halfway down. Just so we can keep an eye on that internal temp and see how it's doing. While this is cooking up though, we are gonna put together the apple coleslaw and the peach barbecue sauce. Those are... All right, we're coming up on the 4-hour mark, and this pork shoulder is looking amazing. You guys, that bark is coming along so nice. And And I was gonna be spritzing this, but this meat still looks really juicy and the bark is staying nice and moist, so I don't think I'm gonna spritz today. We're at about 145 degrees internal temp, and I'm probably gonna wait till about 160, 170 before I wrap this up. We'll give it another hour or two. Okay, so the pork butt has been on for about 5 hours now, and it's come up to about 170 degrees internal temperature. So I think I'm ready to wrap it, and before I do, I'm just gonna get this barbecue sauce prepped. So once again, we are gonna be making a peach barbecue sauce for these pulled pork sandwiches. So I'm just gonna have these. So of course I'm gonna throw these peaches on the grill for about 30 minutes just to get a nice char and let that sugar on there caramelize. So let's go check on that pork shoulder as well, and then we'll pull it off and wrap it. That looks beautiful. Like I said, it's at about 170 degrees internal temp. So we are gonna wrap this up. Let's just get these peaches on. That looks so good. Looks amazing. Beautiful, beautiful bark before wrapping this. That's exactly what you're looking for. All right, so I've got this leftover injection marinade that we used earlier, and I am just going to throw this into our wrap once we've got this partially closed up. I'm just gonna layer this with our marinade here. And you want to make sure you get your wrap super tight. You do not want any air in there, or that will start steaming the meat, and that is not what we want. That'll break down that bark that we worked so hard to get over the last 5 hours. All right, so our pork butt is wrapped. I wrapped it at about 170, 180 degrees, I think. I don't have it probed right now. I just don't want to pierce that tin foil and lose any steam. And we're shooting for about 200. I'll probably go up to about 205 degrees internal temp before I pull it. We're just gonna go off a feel, and once I probe that and it's probed tender, we should be good to go. So I'm gonna get the rest of these ingredients for the sauce going. So this barbecue sauce is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a peach bourbon, and we're gonna be using some traditional Texas ingredients just to put this together. So first we're gonna chop up some onion and add that to some butter on the stovetop. All right, so the start of this sauce, we just add 1 stick or 1/4 cup of butter. Just let that melt down a little bit, and then we will add the onions and let those caramelize. So once your butter's melted down like this, we're gonna add our diced onion. I used a whole onion, but mine was pretty small, so you could get away with just using a half of a white onion. All right, now once your onions are nice and soft, and like you can see here, they are translucent as well, we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. Start out here with 1 cup of ketchup, followed by a half a cup of apple cider vinegar and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. We'll marry our spices in there. We've got about a teaspoon each of kosher salt, fine black pepper, chili powder, cayenne pepper, and fresh garlic. The juice from 1/2 a lemon, a couple teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, a teaspoon of whole grain mustard. I've got some Stone IPA mustard here. I think that'll be a nice complement to this barbecue sauce. And then just a dash of molasses. This blackstrap molasses is super strong, so I'm just gonna add a nice little dash for some color pop. About a half a teaspoon there. Then we'll whisk all that together. And I just pulled these peaches off the grill. They look and smell amazing. They're super soft. They were on for about 20 or 30 minutes right next to the pork shoulder. And I'm gonna cube these up super, super small. All right, now we will add this peach puree to our barbecue sauce. And then of course the last ingredient, your favorite bourbon. I've got some Bullet bourbon here, and we're just gonna throw about a 1/4 cup of that in and let that boil down. So
So we'll let this simmer for about 15 minutes and let all these flavors marry together, and it should break down those peaches quite a bit as well. A little mid-simmer taste test. Wow, holy All right, so our barbecue sauce has cooled off slightly, and we're gonna add it to this blender here. Blend that up until it's nice and smooth. We want that consistency to be like melted butter. All right, one final layer to this pulled pork sandwich we've got here. For this apple slaw here, we are gonna dice up one whole apple and some celery. Get about 4 cups of shredded cabbage. We've got 1 carrot already shredded up here. We're also gonna dice up some red onion, the juice from 1 lemon, mayonnaise, about 1/4 cup. And then we've also got some Spanglish Asadero all-purpose rub. Can't go anywhere without that. And then we've got about 1 tablespoon of sugar and a dash of black pepper and kosher salt. And then we'll finish it all off with some apple cider vinegar. So I've got 4 cups of the shredded cabbage, roughly chopped. And then we will add our red onion, apples, carrots, and celery. Got our 1/4 cup of mayo, our dry spices, the sugar, pepper, and salt. Again, we're gonna throw in some of this Spanglish Asadero all-purpose rub as well. Then about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And the juice from 1 lemon. Let's mix all that together. Get everything at the bottom on top. Oh, that's gonna look so good on top of this pulled pork. Beautiful colors. Nice crunchy contrast to that melt in your mouth goodness of the pulled pork. And then we're just gonna let this sit in the fridge for about 1 hour, and our pork butt is just about done. So let's take a look at that. All right, so we are gonna jump back in here, see how this is looking. Wow, look at all those juices. That looks amazing. We're gonna temp this now on this side. This is the side that was running a little cooler, and so I flipped it. Now we're perfect, right at 204, 205 degrees, 205 in the center, 206 over here. So let's pull this and let it rest for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. Oh, really? Are you excited? Are you excited to eat? Yeah, you excited to eat? Okay. Get this beautiful, beautiful pork shoulder. Oh, look at that. Look at that meat. It's just falling apart. Here, like that. Can you say yum? No touch. Can you smell it? Does it smell good? Does it smell good, Soleil? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. Hot? Yep. All right, so we're ready to roll here. So we got our little helper here. She just did not want to be let down. So we got her all suited up. She's got her nitrile gloves ready to go. All right, let's do it. All right, so we are just gonna work through this pork shoulder here and find any big chunks of fat and just pull that out. I don't really care to be eaten on that. And look at this, look how easily this just shreds right apart. So I threw all the juices from our foil wrap back into this pan so that those juices can be reincorporated into every bite. And look at that, no more juice. All that juice is back in the meat. That's just what we want. Little membrane here, we're gonna pull that out. All right, time has come. Let's plate this and take a bite. Getting late. Let's dig into this. That was about an 8 to 9 hour smoke with about an hour rest on a 7-pound pork butt, just for reference. So we've got everything plated. This looks and smells amazing. We've got our spicy pulled pork sandwich here with our apple coleslaw and our smoked peach barbecue sauce. So let's do it. Oh wow. Another one. Wow, that is hands down the best barbecue sauce I've ever had, and arguably the best pulled pork sandwich I've ever tasted. That underlying layer of spice from that Spanglish Asadero seasoning is fantastic. And then this just cools it right off. And then this is just another sweet layer of flavor that I could not do without. So I'd love to hear if you guys try this recipe. And if you haven't already, like and comment on this video and subscribe to my channel and turn on those post notifications so that you don't miss another upload. So until next time, be sure to smoke something outside and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. See ya.